Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Um, as usual, I want to remind everybody to please remember to be positive, optimistic, and keep positive people in your circle, as those three things are key to ensuring positivity is invited in your future. I wanted to do this video today, not for any particular reason, but because I wanted to talk to you guys just about some of the events that are taking place in this country right now. I ask that you stay with me for a minute and just kind of rap with me. If anybody comes in or if anybody's seeing this later after I post it, after I'm done being live, then feel free to reach out to me regarding any concerns you may or may not have with the things that you're hearing, as well as just building, man. So so at the end of the day, first off, good morning to everybody, man. To all my parents out there, remember to tell your kids that you love them, inspire them, validate who they are and help build them. I want to say to everybody that we really are, and I hope you guys can hear me okay. We really are coming to a crossroads, man. I didn't want to title this video anything particular to the events or circumstances that I'm going to be discussing, just because there's so many, man. It's like oversaturated. I'm not really looking to kind of gain views or get a bunch of attention with this. I'm looking to talk to the people who I love and I care about and share with you guys what is going on, or that something is going on. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, one name where I want to start for everybody who may or may not know about this, there is there was an officer by the name of Clyde Kerr. Clyde Kerr, Clydekerr. I would highly recommend that everybody familiarize yourself with this name. Clyde Kerr did something that was extremely bold, courageous, and some would argue stupid. But at the end of the day, he did what needed to be done. He put out there some things. He's a police officer who killed himself at his own police station, I believe it was. Yeah, man, just look it up, man. All I can say is look it up. Watch the video and just Google Clyde Kerr, YouTube Clyde Kerr, and see the things that he's talking about. All I can say is this was a man who was in the military. This was a man who was a high-ranking official in law enforcement, had been in law enforcement for decades, and he was shaken up by something. I mean, you gotta really think about that. He was shaken up by something. Now, of course, there's a lot of people who are gonna say, well, the man was crazy, something was wrong with him, don't listen to him. I mean, that's true. That's possible. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those people who just, denies things. Like, it's possible that the man was just crazy. You know what I mean? But I have a son. You know what I mean? I have a son and I have 3 daughters. He had sons, and he felt that this was important enough. Hey, what's up, Diamond? Good morning. Diamond, since you just came in, I'm just telling people about Clyde Kerr. Clyde Kerr was a police officer who recently killed himself, and this was due to him, I guess, being afraid of some of the things that are about to happen to society. What I want to do is just kind of raise awareness and get people to know about this. I mean, a lot of people know already because there's a lot of views on YouTube and stuff from it, but nowhere near the level of people who should know, and nowhere near the gravity that should be felt from what happened. We had a police officer kill himself and say that he was terrified by what is about to go down and he wants no part of it. Now, I understand everybody want to be in the dark and don't nobody want to talk about it, but I mean, that's something that I think is neglectful to not learn about if you're a parent, and is ignorant to not learn about if you're Black. Reason being is that we're being, killed. I mean, you know what I mean? It's pretty obvious. We're being killed on, look him up. Clyde Kerr, Clydekerr. I would highly recommend looking him up, Diamond, and just kind of watch the video. It is, it is a little, I mean, nobody died on the video. It's nothing like, vulgar or anything. However, he's describing the things that concerned him before taking his own life, right? I think that whether he took his own life or not, he knew that he wasn't going to live much longer past what he was talking about. I mean, that's pretty clear. When you start saying things that the powers that be don't like, at that point, you have to worry about judgment on earth, rather than the other realm that we're not at yet. So Clyde Kerr was the first thing I wanted to talk about. I don't want to make this too long. How long have I been here? 5 minutes. Um, Second, I wanted to talk about Texas, right? Texas. What's going on in Texas? If you don't know what's going on in Texas, if you know anybody who lives in Texas or is from Texas, I would highly recommend reaching out to them and let them know ASAP that the water is poisonous. The water has parasites in it. So you can look on YouTube and find videos of people putting the glass under the faucet and showing the parasites in the water. This is something that apparently they have listed on Texas's site right now, so it is up and official. But how many people visit their state's website? I mean, if right now on Maryland.gov it was saying, don't go down to Ricestown Road, or else you'll explode. Nobody would know that. You know what I mean? Because nobody goes to Maryland.gov. So a lot of times the people have to look out for the people, and we have to be concerned about each other's well-being and each other's safety. And being that, obviously I run a page where, my whole MO is promoting positivity and supporting people making it, man. I think it's my obligation to at least talk about it. That's why, you see me post things. You see me post things on my story that get your attention. My purpose of posting those things, and it's not even necessarily because I want to be a prick or because I want to be, the guy, like I want to be the guy that says the thing that nobody else says. But it's a lot of times because in today's era, people's attention span is like this big. Like if you talk about something for longer than 3 minutes, they don't want to hear it anymore. You know what I mean? They've programmed our minds to want 30-second clips, even 15-second clips of information. People don't want to sit and listen anymore. People don't want to like really truly hear things unless it's something that's causing drama or mischief. And it's unfortunate, but this is where we become programmed too. If somebody sits down and starts talking about positivity or something good or a way to better us, people immediately click out. They don't want to, you know what I mean? It's like, where's the fun in that? I don't want to talk about bettering society. You know what I mean? And that is unfortunately what is going to be our reckoning. That's what's going to cause everything to fold down on us. There's a lot of different elements to what's going on in Texas. Oh, you said your cousin live in Texas. Talked to him yesterday and told him don't be drinking that water. Yes, Lord, please. If you know anybody who live in Texas, tell them not to drink that water. Now, I mean, they should know by now. By now, today is February 21st, Sunday, 2021. They should know by now that there are parasites in certain counties. And that's what's concerning. Why there are parasites in certain counties? So if the cause of the parasites is due to the storm, and the storm hit all counties, why is there certain counties that have parasites in the water? I mean, I just don't understand that. And you know, just also the combination of Ted Cruz. For those who don't know, Ted Cruz is the senator, I believe. Yes, senator of Texas. Ted Cruz got on a plane and went to Cancun, Mexico. As soon as they heard what was going down, as soon as it was coming out. So at the end of the day, you have to think to yourself, what is going on? You know what I mean? And then the reason that this bothers me, because a lot of people are probably like, well, I don't live in Texas, I don't live down south. That's their fault. If you think that the government wants what's best for us, you are sadly mistaken. Like you are sadly mistaken. Like, like people who don't understand, I'm not gonna say the V scene, right? I'm gonna say the V scene. Hopefully you guys can catch on to what I'm saying. They have algorithms that are picking up the words people are saying and blocking videos and stopping stuff and putting people on lists when they talk about certain things. That's where we're going in society, right? But the V scene that they're trying to give out to everybody, right? I hear people talking about how, we really should do it. It's a good thing. You don't think they want the best for us? Yeah, Diamond, you're a smart individual if you know that the government does not have what's best for you in mind. And honestly, the thing about it is you got to take your emotions out of it, right? You got to stop being so emotional and thinking, well, the government is these evil people who hate you. The government is a business, right? Anybody who owns a business and runs a business, which I do, I own my own LLC, JGiddins LLC. Anyone who owns a business understands that the top priority of your business is to grow, to expand, and to capitalize monetarily, right? That is the business model. If you're a CEO of a company and that company is making $2 million under your leadership, but you could be making 4 million, you are a failed CEO. You're a failed leader of this business. And it's not that is like, like 100% true, but what is truth? You know what I mean? What is truth but reality? And reality is, if your business is not making more money than it could be making, you are at risk. You are at risk of people coming in and overturning you. What's up, Freddie? Freddie DL. You're at risk if your business is not maximizing profit. That is the number one goal of any business. If you're a CEO, again, you have to maximize profitability. So we have to understand that the government is a business. It's, the government is in the business of running lives. You know what I mean? When you have Walmart, you're in the business of handing people out water, handing people out freaking, everything you can think of, man. Plasticware, silverware, chips, soda, friggin' vending. What's the freaking machine that I run on every treadmill? Treadmills. Like, when you're Walmart, this is what you do. Microwaves, you provide those things. When you're the government, you run people. That's your job, to run people. So if your job is to run people, and right now in the country we have in excess of 350 million people. So if your job is to manage and take care of 350 million people, you're going to have to make some decisions. You know what I mean? The crazy thing is, the things that the government is doing that is causing people to, to die or to have negative impacts are no different really than the things that businesses do. If you metaphorically compare a business to the government and employees to people of the government, or, citizens of that government, right? If a CEO, and that's why Trump's decision, I don't even know what to say about Trump, man. That's a whole nother story, because he exposed a lot of things, and I really just think it's our job to make sure that we capitalize off of what he showed us. Just make sure that you pay attention to what this country is. A lot of us have forgotten what this country is. A lot of us, especially the younger generation, does not know what this country is. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of them think that, like, it's all kumbaya and we all just get along and everything's, they don't understand that Black people were brought here as slaves, and we were enslaved for hundreds of years, killed, chopped up, murdered, used as, clothing. They cut our hair out and put it in under shoes, under shoes, put it under chairs to make these things. There are people who have memorabilia from slavery, where they have seats that are made out of the slaves' hair. You know what I mean? Because they would take that and make it out of them. So we really just have to understand the reality of what we're dealing with here. And that brings me back to Clyde Kerr and just him stating that, for my viewer on YouTube who just joined, make sure that you research Clyde Kerr. My goal of this video is to make sure that I, kind of share this pertinent information that I've been coming across that I think is, everybody needs to know. ClydeKerr. And he's just one of many. I mean, this happens often. It's just never getting any media or never getting any attention. I will never forget what happened to us. Yeah, don't forget what happened, because the thing about it is, I think personally, and again, I can't even say that I take any of this or a lot of this, too personal, because leaving it within its context of what I just described about the business and the government, it's necessary. I mean, how can you police and govern 350 million people who are all having their own different ideas and their own different thoughts and wanting to do their own things and revolt and all this stuff? That's hard. If this was a business, if let's say my business is JGiddins LLC and I manage 350,000 YouTube channels, right? And my job is to make sure that all of these channels follow certain regulations, certain guidelines, and don't do certain things. If certain channels are, being inappropriate or doing things that they have no business, I'm gonna have to get rid of one of these channels, right? I might have to get rid of a bunch of these channels. And I'm not gonna necessarily just go in and say, hey, channel one, you're deleted, channel two, you're deleted, because channel 349,999,099.1 is watching what I'm doing to the other channels, right? So you have to find ways to delete these channels or get rid of these channels without all the other channels knowing what's going on. Otherwise, you could have a revolt where all the channels decide they just want to cut themselves off. And if there's no channels, there's no JGiddins LLC. You understand what I mean? So the people, what's up, Benjamin? The people hold the power in this country. And that is, really a lot of what they don't want us to get on key with. Oh, what's up, Pink Summer? Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate the love and the support. Pink Summer, make sure you know about Clyde Kerr. Make sure you know about Texas. Make sure you know about what's taking place right now. And make sure that you take into consideration the things that may happen in the future, because I think that we all need to be a lot more prepared than we are. We all need to understand that survival pages, there's a survival page called, I forget what his name is, but listen, just Google survival tactics. Google, survival supplies. Google self-defense products. Get all of these things. If because we have to really understand that we have become too accustomed to someone else taking care of us. I mean, we are all spoiled brats. Especially Americans. We are spoiled brats. We don't know how to make our own food. We don't know how to, maintain our own water supply. We don't know anything about electricity except where to send that bill at so it don't get cut off. We don't know how to make gas. We don't know anything. All we do is we put our lives in the hands of those who do, and just say, hey, please do right by me, and it's concerning. Put the links to the video. Okay, I'll do that, Pink. That makes perfect sense. But again, I just think I'm just having a little bit of a revelation, man, or I'm just having like some, I don't know, just pertinent information has been delivered to me over the last like couple weeks. I've been just seeing it. Like I'll go to my YouTube and I'll see one thing and it just starts a rabbit hole and it just takes me down, and I'm just seeing all this stuff, and I'm just thinking about how many distractions there are out there. Like every time, it pisses me off when I see somebody watching Love and Hip Hop. That upsets me. That angers me. When I see somebody talking about a versus battle, when I see somebody talking about, oh, yo, did you hear this new artist got pregnant? Yo, oh, did you know all of that kind of stuff, man? It really irritates me because it validates our treatment from the upper class, from those above, right? If I were running the country and the little underlings that I'm running and controlling who are too dumb to think for themselves, all they want to do is just be entertained all day and every day. Like they don't care about the fact that I kill them. They don't care about the fact that I'll come inside their house and kill them and not do anything about it. They don't care that I can pull them over and kill them because they just want to watch themselves act stupid on TV. Oh, no, that's okay. I mean, at this point, Summer, I'm just talking about my people, my people. When I say my people, I mean African Americans. I mean Black people. You know what I mean? If you're not African American, Pink, which I don't know, but if you're not, don't take offense to anything that I say. I'm by, no means racist. Like, a racist is an idiot. But I just think that my people are bamboozled and lost, man. Like they really are. And the thing about it is we are so upset about what's happening to us. We're so upset about the way we're treated like fifth class citizens, but we act like it. We truly act like it. You know what I mean? Like we legitimately act like this is what we want for ourselves. We legitimately do. And, the more that I learn, the less I blame us for it. You know what I mean? Because This country has history that is untapped, like by most people. Most people are not aware of, certain revolts that took place. Most people aren't like super abreast to certain things that took place during the 1800s, certain movements, certain laws that were put in place that are still being used today. One thing that I want to bring up to all of my people, and I'm probably going to say this in another video because I think this is very important for our growth. Meritorious manumission. Meritorious manumission. I'm going to say that again. Meritorious manumission. This is something that I recently learned about through Dr. Claude Anderson, who is a forensic historian. He's a Black forensic historian, probably about the only one that exists or will exist for a while, and on a main stage. And he talked about meritorious manumission, which essentially was a law that made it so that if a slave turned on another slave, they could be free. If they invented something that white people were able to make money from, they could be free. If they protected or saved the life of their slave owner, they could be free, right? Now, look at Congress and tell me you don't see that today, right? Look at Congress and look at how people come up there talking about Black people being killed and how they want help, and Black Congress members argue with them. Black Congress members will fight and argue for their right to be killed on the streets. Now, what would make a man do that, right? And this is one thing that confuses and bewilders Black people. Like, that's why we just don't even want to fight. We don't even care. We're just like, yo, this whole thing is so stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Imagine if your family was living in your house and some strange people came up to the house and said, I'm about to kill everybody in here. And then your brother and sister was like, all right, bro, come on, let's kill him. And helped them kill you and the rest. You would be so distraught. You'd be like, why would you do that? And the reason that it would be so confusing is ignorance, because you don't know any better. Meritorious manumission, knowing about that conquers the lack of understanding. And filling that void of lack of understanding is necessary in bridging the gap from being a docile, controlled Negro to being a Black man, right? So a lot of times I think that if we encourage education, Black history, the knowledge of the things that took place in the past, it will influence Black people to be better. I mean, look at the role models that we have. They got Ice Cube, bruh. Ice Cube? Man, they never written a goddamn law. Don't know anything about, politics. Are you serious? I'm not saying he doesn't know anything about politics, but in terms of being the representative of the Black nation, brother, listen, Black people, if you're not a Black person who understands that you're Black, right? All Black people don't understand this. They think that they are just American, but you don't understand you are a Black American. You know what I mean? We're the only group that doesn't get this and falls for the illusion, right? Asians come here. They don't come here and try to say, oh, only the educated are free. Epictetus. I like that. I'm going to look into that in terms of Epictetus, because I'll be honest with you, I'm unfamiliar with the term, but I'm sure that it has some relevance and some importance. Now, as I was saying, Asian Americans come here and they never, what's up, Gary? Appreciate you stopping by, bro. Asian Americans come here and they don't say, oh, I'm going to try to join. Oh, let's come here and, make sure that we can integrate and do everything that we can with everybody who's American. They understand that they are Asian American, right? They come here, they set up Chinatowns, they set up their areas, and they take care of each other, right? There's a town for everybody but Black people. And the powers that be at the top know this. They watch us. They watch us be accepting of this. So how does Black Lives Matter? How? That's my question. For all the people saying Black Lives Matter, how? How when we don't make it matter? Because we're looking for a handout. And when I say a handout, I don't mean Section 8 food stamps. I don't mean that. Those are programs that, hey, if you can get it, get it. What I mean by handout is we want somebody to come wipe away racism for us, right? We want to keep on pretending that some white knight, and this is programming, this is the Willie Lynch, but we want some white knight to come and wipe everything away for us, instead of realizing our own value and who we are. How come Asians have an Asia town and nobody says anything? How come there's a Greek town and nobody says anything? How come there's a Little Italy in Baltimore, bro? In Baltimore, where I'm from, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, for everybody who may or may not know, right? From the city, the hood, ghetto, whatever you want to call it, right? In Baltimore, there's a section called Little Italy. Little Italy. That's not racist, though, is it? Are you gonna hear anybody say, "Oh, look at those Italians trying to group together and say that they got Little Italy"? You know what I mean? And everybody within Little Italy understands the value of their culture. They understand the value of who they are. They understand that when you come over here to Little Italy, you are not Italian. That is the number one thing that makes a race strong. And we all want to pretend that there's no such thing as race. Like people say things like, "Oh, I don't see color." What are you, blind? How do you not see color? You don't see me? You know what I mean? I think that we all have to learn to understand that we are different and it's okay. You know what I mean? We're at the top of the food chain because we are the smartest, brightest people in the world. Asians prioritize the collective good, not the individual. We have to understand that we are the smartest people. We're the smartest beings on this planet, which is why we're at the top of the food chain. What's up, BJ Kemen? I appreciate you coming through, bro. We're at the top of the food chain, right, in terms of species on this planet, and that's because of our mind and because of how smart we are, right? But we are the only species that will go around and destroy other members of our species because of the color that we are. So animals are smarter than us. You know what I mean? Like you'll never see, a panther see another panther and go, "That panther's, furs a shade lighter than mine. I'm gonna eat them." Their decisions are made based on survival. You know what I mean? If you see an animal eating another animal, it's because it was necessary for their survival. Instincts. You know what I mean? Now this is an arguable point. So let me first off say to anybody who may have or take quarrel with what my position is, this is an arguable point. And I'm not saying that this is just straight the truth. Everything that I say is my opinion. None of it is straight fact. That's a lie. Some of it is straight fact. However, for the most part, it's my it's my perception of what things are. But like I said, in my opinion, people are only at the top of the food chain because of our brain. And I feel like we could sink to the bottom if we didn't have that. Like if lions were as smart as we were, we would be dead, because they would understand, in a way. Honestly, we kind of are that way, though, if you consider, a lion or the different types of species, races, instincts versus reason. Exactly. Yeah. Pink Summer says hyperpigmentation on basis of character is ridiculous. Hyperpigmentation on basis of character. I'm gonna be honest with you, Pink. I need clarification on that. So hyperpigmentation, meaning the over understanding of race or the skin color, right? I think you just mean placing too much emphasis on pigment or skin color when you say hyperpigmentation on basis of character, meaning overly judging a person's skin color on the basis of character is ridiculous. So I think you mean prejudice. I think you mean judging people. I'm assuming. If I'm wrong, let me know. But that was my understanding of what I read. So yes, I do think that prejudging people based on skin color is wrong. That is by definition what racism is, essentially. Thinking that everything about it. Okay, thank you, Pink. I wanted to make sure your verbiage was very quaint, but I myself was having trouble with it. But anyway, look, I feel like if you're a racist, you're stupid. Like, and it's nothing personal, it's nothing personal. Just like I'm short, right? Most people who don't know me don't know this. I'm short. A lot of people think I'm tall. I'm not tall. Anybody who knows me knows this, right? But because I'm short, there's certain assumptions that people are going to make, you know what I mean, because of that. And I think that could be considered prejudice to a degree, right? Some people are going to assume I can't dunk. Is that true? You don't know. Now, you probably assumed it too, right? You would assume that because I'm short, I can't dunk, right? But you don't know that, right? But that's what prejudice is, prejudging. You know what I mean? And I think that prejudice is necessary sometimes. Like, prejudice will keep you from falling into a hole that you see, right? Well, prejudice will keep you from vertically challenged. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. I'm vertically challenged, not short, right? But prejudice will keep you from getting hurt. Prejudice is, I'm walking down the street. I mean, the thing is, there's a fine line between prejudice and racist, in my opinion. Again, this is all my opinion before everybody jump off the damn cliff. In my opinion, prejudice is like when you're prejudging something based on knowledge, fact, statistics, things of that nature, which I don't necessarily think is that wrong. Racism is where you don't give a hell about any stat because this color says this about you, right? So racist is when you say you are black. That means you are genetically predetermined to be violent. That means your skin is black. That means you have to be violent. You have to be aggressive. You have to steal. You have to do these things because you're black. That is racist. And that is by definition stupid. Crazy to judge people because they have more melanin in their skin. Prejudice based on this is stupid. I 100% agree with that. Why would you be judging somebody based on their skin color? I mean, like, if you're a smart person, that's like denying science. Do we think it's coincidental that majority of racists deny science? They're all idiots, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, to say that the pigmentation or that someone is genetically predisposed to be a certain way because of their race is just stupid, Now, the reason I said I don't necessarily disagree with prejudice, because prejudice can be racist. That's the thing. But I don't necessarily think that it's always racist, even in the instances where the prejudging that's taking place is on the basis of race. Because I wouldn't say somebody is heightist, right? Let's say heightist was a word, right? Which it probably should be, considering how much you hear, he ain't tall enough, so I don't want him, or she's too, that should be a thing. But anywho, my point is, right, if somebody were to say to me, oh, he's 5'2", he can't dunk, he's super short, there's no way he could dunk, I wouldn't tell them that, they're heightist. I would say they're prejudiced, right? They're prejudging my abilities based on something that has real life stats with it, right? Like, you can look up short people and real life events. This is not based on just something that your brain is creating for you. This is something that we know. We know that a person who's 5'2" is not likely to be able to dunk on a 10-foot rim, because your average person can't jump 5 feet off the ground. So it logically makes sense. That's prejudice. You're prejudging based on information you assess, right? That could happen and be racial. What I mean by that is, let's say you're walking down the street and there are, a gang of black people, a group of black people, maybe 6 or 7 black people walking toward you on this street that you're on. If you say and cross the street, I don't think that's racist. Now, many would argue that that's racist. Many would say, well, no, he don't like black people. How can that be racist? You're prejudging the people. Now, here's the reason. Let me rephrase that. Okay, as I'm thinking about this, I could more so understand where someone would get the Muggsy Bogues, right? Spud Webb. I got called all of those names, man, when I was hooping. what's the other guy's name? Nate Robinson. Like people always call me those basketball players when I play basketball because I always shock people. I show up to a basketball court with a bunch of 6-footers and I'm 5'2", and they're like, "Oh, this guy not gonna be able to do." And then I get the ball and I score, and they see how nice I am because I've been playing basketball since I was maybe 7, and they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I love it." But anywho, you made me deviate from what I was talking about, Gary, talking about Muggsy Bogues, because basketball is a big thing to me as it is to most black people. Reason being is in the hood and the ghettos, you always have a basketball court. You might not have, a good school, but you'll have a basketball court, right? You might not have, these big corporations and companies and lots of money, money building machines, if you will, but you have a basketball court. So that was the one thing that as a black man, black young male growing up, I thought was always something that would be a part of my life, because it always was. I mean, every day, every hood that I lived in, I lived all around Baltimore. Every hood that I lived in Baltimore, I found a basketball court near me because there's just always a basketball court. And that's where you meet people. That's where you build your connections. When you're in the hood, a lot. That's what I was doing an interview. I'm so deviating from what I was talking about, and I apologize to anybody who's like, "Bro, you were not talking about that a second ago." If somebody comments and tells me what it was, I'll remember, but I really don't remember. I'm going to talk about this now because it's marginally relevant. So most black people grow up with 3 things possible: sports, entertainment, or damn, I'm having trouble coming up with the third one. Sports, entertainment, and what's the third one, bro? There's another one. Sports, entertainment. Yeah, because rappers already listen. At the end of the day, but they short and can jump. They were stereotyped and prejudiced against. Well, I mean, but yeah. Thanks, Gary. Look, I was about to address what you said as if it was a new statement. For my people on YouTube, I got some people on Instagram who were watching as well, so I'm reading their messages as they chime in, and vice versa. Pink said I was brought up in Baltimore. Oh, Pink, you brought up in Baltimore? Where at? Where you from? But look, yeah, so what I was saying about the stereotyping and prejudice against, how I don't necessarily think that it's wrong. I think that prejudice is necessary in order to keep you out of certain trouble. You know what I mean? If you are about to go to a party and you know that this party is going to have certain people there who are doing certain things, right? You know that if you don't keep your wits about you, something could happen to you. Fenwick Ave, okay. Fenwick, where's that at? It's like relatively familiar to me, like vaguely familiar to me, but I don't know off the top of my head where Fenwick is. What hood is it in? That will tell me. I mean, but at the end of the day, I feel like if you're not prejudiced, you are bound to have something happen to you. You should be prejudiced. You know what's funny? When I used to drive Uber, right? Then my parents had a store in Cherry Hill. Oh, okay, yeah. I just moved from around Cherry Hill. Well, I was in Brooklyn. If you're familiar with Baltimore, anybody who knows Brooklyn, Westport and Cherry Hill are like, all within walking distance of each other. Like you go down 3 blocks this way, you're in Westport. You go down 3 blocks this way, you're in Cherry Hill. You go down 3 blocks this way, you're in Brooklyn. But I was living in Brooklyn not too long ago. I actually moved a little bit less than a year ago. But yeah, what I was gonna say is, you have to be prejudiced. When I would drive Uber, right? I drove Uber for about a year, somewhere around there. And when I was driving Uber, a lot of my Uber rides were white people that I got from the airport, the MARC train station, just from different areas that I was not normally in because of me never venturing out of my hood, if you will. Right. So, and when I would talk to them, I would always try to pick their brains, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I love talking to white people. Like, I love talking to white people because I love talking to people who I can learn something from. And there's not a whole lot I can learn about black people from black people because I'm black and grew up around black people. So it ain't really shit that you're going to really tell me about. Like, honestly, except for black history, which is not taught to us. So we don't really know about it. You know what I mean? You can't tell me about, Uncle Tom's Cabin. You know what I mean? You can't tell me that calling a house nigga a coon, calling a black person who supports white people Uncle Tom is backwards, and that I'm stupid for thinking that because in Uncle Tom's cabin it was actually Sambo who killed Uncle Tom because he stood up to the white man. But we don't know that. We've been told to call him Uncle Tom's. You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff I can't learn from my people because we don't know it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I could learn that from a white man, but I could learn about the white man's history or possibly learn about their current situation and how they're dealing with the effects that they have from us, because did you ever know John and Nita Chan who owned a small grocery store in China? No. So Pink, God, I don't want to lose track of what I was saying. I already did. God damn, I have the worst problem with I have to read comments after I'm done talking. I'm sorry. No, I didn't know John and Nita Chan. Now, Cherry Hill was not my hood. You know what I mean? Like Cherry Hill was not where I grew up at. I did know people from Cherry Hill, but I grew up more so around Park Heights, around West Side, Baltimore and Catherine, that was my area growing up. But in terms of Cherry Hill, Westport a little bit too. I knew some people from Westport, but no, I don't know of them. I gotta start writing down as I'm talking because guys, I keep losing track of what I'm saying. And Gary got to be like my support here because he keeps me on track. But I know I was talking about something with prejudice and just how when I was driving Uber, I would tell the white people when they would tell me how they felt about black people, how they were afraid or how they felt like their life was more in jeopardy around a black person. I would tell them, listen, I'm not gonna be mad at you for judging a situation for what it is. I will be mad at you for treating the person different. That's where it becomes racism. When you start treating that person different and acting differently toward that person in comparison to someone else who could be in that exact same situation, right? But I'm not against prejudice because I have kids. And I'm not going to tell my kids to not be prejudiced. I'm not going to tell them to not prejudge scenarios before they walk into them. You know what I mean? Like if somebody were to tell me not to tell my daughter not to trust men because I was being prejudiced, I would tell them, kiss my ass. You know what I mean? My daughters are not trusting any man because I don't trust men. You know what I mean? And that's not because I'm a self-hating man. You know what I mean? That's not because I hate myself. I'm, sexist against myself. It's because I've done prejudging and I'm not stupid. You know what I mean? I'm not stupid. Men touch little girls. Now, it doesn't happen all the time. It's not everybody, but they do it. And the ones that do it don't talk about it. So just because, you're sitting there arguing that a man has never given you a sign that he's done it does not mean he wouldn't. You have to watch men very, 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 very carefully. And that's why I'm so open. That's why I'm so I'm so open and willing to give and share everything in my life. Like I hate when people say stuff like, "Oh, bro, how can I find you? How can I find your music? How can I find this? How can I find that?" I am JGiddins. You Google JGiddins, everything about me comes up. You know what I mean? Like there's is no way hard to find me. I'm a public figure. So I hate when people say that. And I don't even know why I brought that up and what relevance it had to my topic. What was I talking about? Oh, that's the reason why I put things out there, because I want people to be able to look me up. If somebody were to say, this happened to me recently. There was a video on TikTok that a little girl did where she was like doing this little nasty little dance, twerking or whatever you want to call it. And different terminology is healthfully skeptical. So there was this girl doing this little nasty little dance on TikTok to these songs that they doing to sexualize the children. And I reposted it and I said, this is ridiculous. Mind you, this was a viral post. This was a viral post. I reposted it and said, this is ridiculous. We need to make sure we're controlling our children and we're keeping our children out of these situations, blah, blah, blah. Do you know when I posted it on Facebook, somebody got on Facebook and said that I'm a pedophile. They said I'm a pedophile because only a pedophile could look at that video of that little girl dancing inappropriately and think something other than just a little girl expressing herself. Now tell me that don't sound like a pedophile saying some shit like that. You know what I mean? Oh, only a pet. You know what I mean? I was so blown, and I was so upset by the fact that people were actually like being like, "Yeah, I mean, you know, why are you looking at her like that?" Because I got 3 daughters, you sick fuck. You know what I mean? Like this is the kind of stuff that I have to like really what's up, Angel Fire? Thank you for stopping by. But this is the kind of stuff that I have to really, you know, put out there about myself. This is why I make all of my information available to public. I want everybody to know. I think it's a more appropriate term to express prejudice. Um Different terminology is healthfully skeptical. Gary, I think I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, like I'm overreading into it. You said I think it's a more appropriate term to express prejudice. That video was horrible and disgusting. Oh, you saw it, yeah. The video was ridiculous, man. And the fact that there are people going around trying to support it and trying to like say that it's okay. Let me tell y'all something else. Oh my God, I'm glad I thought about this. I got to do another video on this. Clover Love. They are in the process of legalizing pedophilia. Legalizing pedophilia. And, you know, it's horrible, man, because when you have one thing, when you give somebody an inch, they take a mile, right? This all started with the gay thing, right? And I mean, I'm not against gay people, okay? Anybody who says that is an idiot. Anybody who says that I hate gay people or something like that, I'm against, they're stupid. You have to listen to me. But I am against, I disagree with it. Let's say that I disagree with being gay, okay? For many reasons. But again, my point was that opened up a can of worms that's about to be so big right now because you are allowed to be gay as a man, you are allowed to be lesbian as a woman. Because you are allowed to be a man and think that you feel like a woman, you're allowed to be transgender. So a man is allowed to be a woman. And because a woman may think or feel like she's a man inside, a woman is allowed to be a man. For those who think, oh, or you know, I think gay people thought it was just gonna stop there. Like they thought, like, oh yeah, you know, we're not crazy for thinking that 2 men should be together. That's normal. What is wrong with you? And then the women, we're not crazy for thinking 2 women should be together. What's wrong with you? And then the men, I'm not crazy for thinking I'm a woman. What's wrong with you? Right? So what they're doing now is Clover Love has something where a man is allowed legally to feel like he's a younger self. You guys understand what's happening? You understand the evil that's spawning out of this whole ideology? So now what can happen is a man can legally say, I don't feel like I'm a man. I feel like I'm a little girl. And then they can do things with little boys because it's not the man doing it, it's the little girl inside the man, right? So for all of the people who disagree with that, who think that's wrong, explain to me how being transgender is any different. Explain to me how being gay is any different. Explain to me the difference between being born with a God-created part that you think is not yours and it's not you, versus somebody being born and growing up as a man saying, I don't feel like I'm a grown man. I feel like I'm a little girl. Where's the line? The thing is, nobody wanted to draw a line because they felt like you're oppressing people. You're oppressing people by not letting them do whatever they want to do. You know, I got a news flash for most people. If everybody did what they wanted to do, we'd all be dead. That ain't the way the world works. That's the way people want it to work, but that ain't how it works. It's very unfortunate. That's not how it works. Everybody can't just do what they want because they want to. So I want you guys to truly look up Clover Love. I think it's either called Clover Love or Clover Life. I think it's Clover Love. And even the image that they have for this Clover Love is a picture of a man with a picture of a smaller girl inside his body holding hands with a little boy. This shit is sick. It's sick. Like, it's literally sick, but they can do it. You know why? Because men can say that they're women, and women can say that they're men, and girls can say that they're not really a girl, or girls can say that they're not meant to like boys, they're meant to like girls, and boys can say they're not meant to like girls, they're meant to like boys. And so at the end of the day, there is no stop to this. Like, once you start, digging into that sin, you know what I mean? As much as I hate to use that word sin, because I don't agree with religion and I don't support religion. Religion is just like a way to brainwash and control a mass group of people. Everything about history tells you this about religion. Anybody who believes in religion does not know the history of religion. I guarantee you. The only people who believe in religion are those who don't know the history of it. Religion was literally used to conquer. It was used to divide and conquer. They went around and I'm not gonna go into detail. Anyway, my point is a lot of this stuff that's coming out now it's like a metamorphosis of the things that the people think they deserve and think they should have. And the powers that be that are at the top are just kind of sitting there watching us, looking at us like, okay. And they're moving pawns and doing whatever they want, you know what I mean? Because they have $300 million in this hand and 500 billion in this hand, and they don't know what to do. Like, there's stories talking about how these people, yeah, Pink Summer, I'm glad that you agree with me on religion. And for anybody who does agree with me on religion, I want to first off say congratulations to you. That is a point in a state in life that majority of people will not reach. Religion is for followers, not leaders. So majority of people will never reach the conclusion that religion is a tool used to control people, because when you're being controlled, you don't know it. You know what I mean? So there's never going to be somebody who's in a religion who says, yeah, religion is used to control people. What kind of sense does that make? Like, you know what I mean? They're not going to say that. The whole reason religion works is because they don't say that. Like, you know what I mean? If they said that, then religion wouldn't work. So it works perfectly. And to be honest with you, arguably, I think that religion is a necessary evil, because some people need a reason to be good people, right? Some people by default themselves cannot be good people. They don't know how to. Like, you know what I mean? They're just like, well, they just don't. They wake up and they have evil thoughts. I'm a secular humanist. I'll be honest with you, Pink, I'm not familiar with that term. I've never heard of it before. But this is how I learn. I need to do this more often. So thank you for introducing me to that term, secular humanist. If you could explain what it is. If not, that's fine. I'll look it up and figure it out myself. But my point is, that we have to understand that there's two kind of people in the world. And there's like 100 different variations of there's two kind of people in the world, right? So I want to lead with that, okay? But there's two kind of people in the world, and there's the people who live in the world we live in, and the people who live in the world that they wish we lived in, right? So there's some people, like for instance, there's some people who believe that you should be able to do whatever you want to do and nothing should happen to you and there should be no consequences because it's your free will and that's what you have the right to do. And some people live their life as such, right? Other people understand the world that they live in and they live their life as if it was the world that they actually live in, right? And a lot of times when that happens, well, when certain things that happen in our society where we're wondering, why does this happen? What's going on? A lot of it is promoted by the fact that we don't live right. You know what I mean? Like, people don't live right. Think about the fact that we talk about how horrible rape is and how bad rape is, right? But look at social media. Look at what you see outside. It's ass cheeks flying everywhere, right? We live in a world where men receive intense sexual gratification based on what they see. We live in a world where if a man looks over and sees your butt cheeks sticking out of your leggings and your belly button, he wants to bend you over and fuck the shit out of you. I don't care what he tells you. You hear me? But we live in a world where everybody's saying, no, that's not true. I can do what I want to do. It's my freedom, right? And then we wonder why little girls are being touched. We wonder why there's so many boyfriends who are touching the daughter of their girlfriend, right? We wonder why that happens. Because we don't want to face reality. We don't want to face reality. Black women, Pink, what you just said, I'm going to repeat for those on Instagram who might be watching what my YouTube follower just said. So sad that the black woman or that the black women donate the greatest percentage of their money or their monthly income out of all populations to a white man's religion, which in turn suppresses them. Think about how that is. Think about the truth in that. Now, I'm black. I grew up in a black neighborhood. I'm from the hood. I already know. I went to church growing up because I had to. I already, you know what I mean? I know. And there's facts to what she's saying. That's 100% true. It's a sad truth. And it's sad, man. I hate saying it's sad. I'm tired of saying it's sad. We got to do something about it, man. And like nobody, and this is what I mean when I say at the top, they're just laughing because at the end of the day, they know this truth. We know this truth too, but we're too afraid to face it. You know, we know the truth of what's going on. A lot of people are just afraid. They're afraid and they're greedy. You know what I mean? And the devil is in them. You know, they really, I don't want to say the devil. That's very religious related, but what I mean is evil is in them because I don't believe in religion, but I do believe in God. I'm not an atheist. You know, because that to me that runs parallel to being a racist, being an atheist. I mean, to just, you know, the same way there's no logical sense that a person's skin color goes into their brain and makes them be a certain way. There's no logic to the fact that all of this shit you see around us, air, life, animals, all this shit came from nowhere. From nowhere, bro. The complexity of the human body is ridiculous. Not even just the complexity of the human body, the complexity of each animal that's on this planet's body, lizards, ability to regenerate, to regrow, the things that they have. I don't think that comes from nowhere, you know. Now, again, these are my opinions, you know, these are my opinions. These are not fact, because I don't know and nobody knows, you know what I mean? But that is my best educated guess is that there is a creator, there is a being, there is some sort of an existence that led to our existence, right? And this is why evolutionary biology so because of viruses, because of diseases, because of animals' ability to sort of grow based on their environment and what do you call it, evolve. I do think that there may be a little bit of some legs to stand on. For those on Instagram, my YouTube follower was saying that it's evolutionary biology when we were talking about where people come from. You know, we're talking about whether or not God is real or not, whether or not we have a creator or not. She said it's evolutionary biology. And what I take from that is that you mean that there was some sort of, you know, a micro something that existed, a chemical, a something, a biological existence that grew and evolved into other biological existences, which at some point, hundreds of years down the road, evolved into us, right? I don't necessarily want to, what's up? It's Critical Mashirato. If I pronounce that incorrectly, I'm sorry. But what's up, man? I thank you so much for stopping by, and I really appreciate you guys. Everybody that's in here, please like the video, by the way, Pink, if you haven't. Anybody who's watching this, please like the video for me. Oh, she said yes. Okay. So I was accurate in describing what my followers' perception was of our creation. Now, I think that there may be a little bit of validity to that. I'm one of those kind of people who I'm definitely not a yes man, and I'm definitely not a no man. I'm definitely not one of those people who's just like, no, I don't care. No, I learn, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to go against something that I have not learned about to figure it out. So I don't know, but this is a topic where it's science. I haven't seen scientific evidence that would make me believe that we came from that. And I'm not saying that to disagree or differ with you, Pink. I'm just giving my perception and my perspective on what you're saying. When somebody says to me it's science, to defend us not having a creator who had the power to create us, I don't have any evidence that I've ever seen that would make me go, oh, snap, you're right. Like a God couldn't have done this. Microbiology did this. Like I haven't seen it. Now there's probably evidence of or proof of a current modern day version of what may have taken place millions of years ago. But the evidence that it actually took place millions of years ago is what I'm missing. I mean, it's the same as religion. You know what I mean? For you to say that science led to us existing is like me saying that the Bible's right. How do you know? You're going to say what? Because the Bible said it? And what you're going to say? Because science said it? Science is right because science said it. You know what I mean? Like there's no validation. We all don't. And honestly, I think that to a degree that is by design. Like a lot of people that ask me about God, what my thoughts are about God or my perception of God, I always tell them, like, I think that some things are off limits. You know what I mean? I think that at the end of the day, my live is probably going to stop soon. For anybody who's watching, if it stops, I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming by. Remember to be positive, optimistic, and keep positive people in your circle. But I always tell people that, I feel like to try to get to know God's decision making or to try to even think on the level of that a God would, I think is blasphemous. Like when people say, well, I think God did this or God would do, if you were capable of comprehending a God, you wouldn't be a human. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't, and you wouldn't be broke and all the things that you have. So to try to think that we possess the capability to understand a God is blasphemous in itself, in my eyes. I don't think that's not territory I care to, go into. The same way I don't feel comfortable with following a religion because of that. Because if, you got all these religions out there. Hey, what's up? Major Main, El Mega Main, appreciate you stopping by. But at the end of the day, if religion is real, first off, religion is not real. But if religion was real, only one of them is right. So my opinion is, I don't want to offend a God, right? You know what I mean? That's always been my perception of it when it comes to religion. The last thing I want to do is offend my God, right? So the way I look at it is, I'm not going to label a God. I'm not going to, hey, what's up, cuzzo, man? I'm not going to label a God, and I'm not going to judge a God. I'm not going to do anything like that to a God, because I think at the end of the day, the way I envision us dying, the way I envision the afterlife is you die and then you get to the gates and there's a TV, probably not literally a TV, but there's a TV showing you your entire life playing out, and you have to explain it. You have to explain every decision you made and why you thought that it was good and best and why you deserve to be in heaven. I always felt like the way to tell if you are going to go to heaven or not is by thinking about whether or not a heaven could exist if everybody there was like you, right? So if you know you're a thief, nobody knows this but you. If you know you're a thief, you know you're a bad person, you know you want to touch little kids, you know this stuff about you, you're not going to heaven. That's my personal perception of it. I don't care what you speak or say. All that stuff is foolery for people to believe. You never believe what people say. You know what I mean? Like, people can say anything. What's up, Anime? Oh, Anime. Appreciate you stopping by. That's probably one of my gamer followers. Does a fetus look like a 6.7 foot 300? This development takes only 17 years. Think about the changes of organisms over 14 million years. For those who might be watching on Instagram, so one of my followers on YouTube said, and those watching on YouTube who might not know what it said. She says, does a fetus look like a 6 foot, 300-pound football player? This development takes only 17 years. Think about the changes of organisms over 14 million years. Right? Follow him. All right, I'll follow him, bro. You know, there's some value to that. There's some value to that, you know, and I would say, and I'm gonna wrap this up pretty soon, guys, because I'm at an hour and 5 minutes. And honestly, I could talk for 20 hours, like, and I wouldn't be done talking. That's how that's how I am. I talk too loud. I talk a lot, I talk too much. Anyway, you know, I think that there is some validity to that, and I kind of understand it. But like I said, I still think that you have to preface any ideology you have relative to what you're saying with the word think or, hypothesis or something like that. I think that either way, there is still no confirmed way. Like, you just never know. But I do understand. I do understand your perception, and I think that is possible. I mean, like, it is possible that. I mean, but here's the thing, Pink. Here's my problem with that ideology. Like, if you're claiming that we were an evolution of organisms that were, 14 million years ago, where'd the organism come from? You understand what I'm saying? Where'd the organism come from? That's like saying, let's say instead of beings and organisms, we were talking about houses being built, and we were trying to figure out, well, where did houses being built come from? Where these houses come from? Because there's millions of houses, but we don't know where the first one came from. My question would be, well, where'd the wood that built the house come from? Right? You're talking about organisms that evolved. I'm talking about where the organism come from. Great books entitled Think. Read it. Great book entitled Think. Okay, I don't know how to perceive that, Pink. But look, my point is, any organism that may have taken place that may have existed millions of years ago to evolve now, where would the organism have come from? You understand what I mean? I mean, like that. I mean, it's just as simple as that. I don't even know how to make it any more like involved in that. Like, where'd the organism come from? Where'd the organism come from? The one that's evolving. Where'd it come from? Alien. Where'd the alien come from? You understand what I'm saying? There's no end to this. Where'd the alien come from? And then once you tell me that, answer me where that came from. That's what I'm saying. This is endless rabbit hole of possibilities. Nobody knows. The only thing you can do is really just kind of take your best guess at it. And what I would say is taking the scientific route of like organisms evolving is going to send you down a much, deeper rabbit hole than whether or not a God is real. Like, you know what I mean? Because organisms evolving is an ever flowing process. Nothing dies, it just transfers, even with energy. So you would have to figure out like where energy came from. You know what I mean? It's hard to, you would have to figure out where the energy that causes the reaction that causes organisms to evolve came from. Where does that come from? Where does that organism's ability to evolve come from? You know what I mean? Like, if you have an animal that after 100 years of evolution grows wings, it probably grew wings because there was something necessary for it to get that it needed to fly up to, right? But these organisms from millions of years ago that were evolving, what were they evolving because of? What made them eat? I mean, there's so many questions when you go down a rabbit hole like that of just. But look, guys, I have had an absolutely amazing time with everybody who stopped by. Please, everybody, remember to like, subscribe, follow if you're on YouTube, follow if you're on Instagram, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Make sure to check out some of my other videos, guys. I do a lot of videos. I have a lot of videos, and they have a lot of great content in them, especially if you're a parent. Like, if you're a parent, it's unquestionable whether or not I have material that's good for you. I'm not saying that it all is going to be great. I'm not, perfect, obviously, but I have a lot of insight on parenting. I have a lot of insight and experience with, handling children and handling minds, just in general. And when I say handling minds, I mean, I don't necessarily mean quantity as much as I mean quality. So I mean, I've dealt with everything from your, you know, gangster, hard thug, drug dealer to your, white CEO, who owns a company. I've sat and had conversations with them. So what I mean is, like, my experience with the minds of people and how they work and how they got there is kind of high. And especially as it relates to children growing up, because as I always tell people, see, this is why I gotta just hang up, because I talk too much. But I always tell people, I came because you're a great dad. I love it, Pink. I always tell people that children are not, I mean, adults are nothing but children who got older, right? So if you see a 30-year-old man, that is a 10-year-old 20 years later. You understand? What I mean by that is he is still going to be the same person that those experiences he had as a child made him. Now, that's not a blanket statement that applies to everybody before somebody says something. It's not like if you grow up in a house where, you're being beat on, you're guaranteed to beat on people when you grow up. It's just very, very likely. Why are you putting my business in the street? What? Gary, what are you talking about? Anyway, you're confusing me, Gary. But anyway, my point is, you know what I mean? When you are oh, I got you, Gary. I just caught up. So anyway, my point is, we have to treat our children like what we want them to be. And I think if people can understand that concept, get it in their mind. First, you have to get over everything that happened to you as a child. A lot of people psychologically, when something happened to them and there was never any closure, nobody ever helped them, they feel like it's unsolved forever. So what that means is they're gonna make other people feel the same thing. If they have children, my daughter's mother is an exact example of that. I just got custody, as many like Pink may know. I just got custody of my daughters on January 29th. And that was largely due to abuse and neglect that takes place because of the fact that my children's mother was abused and neglected. I mean, she used to cry to me about it all the time, about how much she hated her mother and how her mother did her and kept her dad from her and all this crazy stuff. She was looking for her dad and all this stuff. And then next thing you know, she turns around and does the exact same thing to my kids. I'm getting calls about my children possibly committing suicide. My daughter's telling me how she had to get the knife from my other daughter to keep her from killing herself because they didn't want to be here. These are the kind of things that I have to deal with, that I had to deal with pre-custody, right? And these are all the kind of things that will oh, thanks, Pink. These are all the kind of things that will lead to a child being the same way. Had I not rescued my daughters, and my daughters tell me all the time, especially my oldest daughter, Journey, who is 11, she tells me all the time, Dad, you don't know what you did for me. You don't know how you rescued me, because her mind was going somewhere else. And she tells me all the time that she knows she's going to be a better parent because of that. And that she'll never have her child go through the things that she had to go through. Right. And I treat her like a little woman. You know why? Because she is. She is. She is. When she's 30, she will be a 10-year-old 20 years later. Right now, she's a 30-year-old 20 years earlier. You understand what I mean? You get that concept through your mind and you understand that you'll build these kids to be queens and kings. And they will not accept disrespect from anyone. They will not tolerate it from anyone. They will have a level of confidence that will make them speak as if, they're at the top of a mountain. You know what I mean? And that's how I got the confidence that I have. A lot of it was instilled in me through my mother's trust of me. A lot of times my mom was actually willing to she was actually willing to let me do things that other people didn't do. You know what I mean? My mom let me have my girlfriend, and I'm not saying to do this particular thing, but my mom let me have my girlfriend move in with me in my house, in the house with her, when I was 16 or 17. Sorry, I was 16 or 17. I think I was like just turned 17, but she let her move in with me and live with me while I was in high school. I mean, I was in high school in 12th grade, waking up with my girlfriend laying in a bed with me next day, getting up, going to school, coming back home. So I had the mindset of a husband when I was 17. Women are born with a little crazy. They just put a cap on that soda bottle tag. So, at the end of the day, because I was kind of raised that way. I always had this level of esteem about myself. I always had this level of confidence about myself that let me do things that others necessarily couldn't. When my baby mama, there's so many black men out here who are going through what I went through. When my baby mama told me, I'm gonna put you on child support, you gonna pay me, and you not seeing your kids. You know what I said back to her? I ain't say, bitch, I'll slap you. All that shit that men do because they don't know how to actually approach and resolve the situation. I told her, I said, if you do that, I'm gonna take my children from you and I'm gonna raise them because I'm not gonna pay you to do it. And I meant what I said. Took me 5 years, but I meant what I said. That's the level of confidence that you get in yourself when you're raised being given that amount of confidence. Nobody will tell you what you can't do. Nobody will tell you what you can't do when you have that confidence instilled in you at a young age. And we as black people, it is super important that we get that from ourselves because black people are the stepchild of the world. You know what I mean? Black and brown people were enslaved majority of their life, their existence. You know what I mean? We are looked at as lesser than. So by default, we have to seek that validity, that entitlement within ourselves. And a lot of times, a lot of the lack of confidence that blacks have comes from blacks. You know what I mean? Like I can't, and we know it. And we know it. You know what I mean? You got a bunch of phony people who want to try to be phony and say it's not true and try to act like, you know, oh, black people aren't like that. Come on now. Y'all niggas lying. I would say it just like that so they know who I am, where I'm from, and you can't lie to me. Y'all niggas lying. You out your motherfucking mind, you telling me we don't put each other down. You serious? You serious? I grew up around people where they parents telling them, shut your dumb ass up. And that's a regular thing. So all the phony people trying to, you know, and that's why it's a well-known statement in the black community. What stays in your house, what happens in this house stays in this house, because we know we ain't doing shit right in our homes. So we make it clear nothing in this house better not get out, because it ain't nothing worth telling happening in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the crazy thing is me and my baby mama argue about this all the time because she abuses and neglects my kids and then tells them, y'all better not talk to nobody. Y'all better not tell nobody what's going on in here. I told my kids, I said, you better tell everybody everything that's going on in here. You know what happened in here? My children have to do daily assignments in here. My children are checked on periodically while they're at school in here. You know what happens here? My children eat and sleep every single day the way they're supposed to in here. You know what happens in here? My children are taught their history in here. My children are built up in here. You better know what's going on in my house. We building queens around here. But when you try to ask somebody, oh no, don't, ain't none of your business what's going on in here. Why? Because you got people in there touching your kids. Because you got people in there who shouldn't be around your kids. Because people cussing and fussing and beating the shit out each other in front of your kids. That's why nothing that's going on in here should be talked about, right? That's the shit that's just supposed to be okay. And then we want to turn around and say them every time, you know, black lives don't matter. Every time somebody see a black person get killed and they ignore it, then we want to say they doing this to us. I'm not saying that they aren't. There is a lot of this that is by design from the outside. However, a good amount of it happens inside the home. Very much so inside the home. And we have to stop that. Bro, I don't even talk to my family. I haven't talked to my mother in years. You know why? Because my mother is complicit. My mother is complicit into things that destroy the black community, and I want nothing to do with them. Until you have that level of confidence, until you can break the cycle, until you can break the, oh, that's my mama, until you can break the, oh, mama can't do no wrong, until you can break out of that chain, that mental chain, and stand above it, you will always be lesser than, and you will always come second. And we have to understand that family is everything. The way you raise yourselves is everything. You can't be mistreating your kids and then think that because it's in the dark, it don't matter. And then when they turn 16 and they out here robbing people, you know, beating people up in school, stealing cars, you wonder where it came from because you abused them their whole life and told them they better not tell nobody. So now they want to fuck everybody up that they see. I know people like that. So, you know what I mean? So this whole thing, it kills me that we sitting here acting so confused about what's going on. It's dudes right now who you can make a phone call to them and they'll go beat somebody for you. Not because they just want to beat somebody, they love beating up black people, because they angry. Because the main person who abused them and neglected them is sitting right here and won't nobody speak about it. And if they speak about it, oh, you better not talk about you better, what you doing? You know what? So since that's the case, somebody got to get it then. That's where it comes to, right? When you got these black men out here standing on the corner just with that look like, yo, fuck it, anybody can get it. It is what it is. The reason they feel like that is because they have so much anger, so much animosity inside, and a lot of it is not strictly because of white people. It's because of us. It's because of what we do to each other. It's because we're cowards and we won't stand up. We won't stand up for each other. My daughters was being abused and neglected. My family turned their back on me and wouldn't even support me because they didn't want to prove that this is happening in our homes. You understand what I'm saying? My mom chose to hide that about the black community over loving her own son. Because if she stood up and supported me, it would have sent a rippling effect to people that this is wrong what my baby mother's doing. And they don't want to do that. Because if you say what she's doing is wrong, you got to say what she's doing is wrong. You got to say what she's doing is wrong. You got to say what she do. And they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. They don't want to stand up. They cowards. So my goal, the reason I've started this page, man, is because I want to build the confidence that I have in positivity, in morality, in compassion, and all the things that I have that are good, loving things that I was taught by no one. I learned myself. I wasn't taught to be a father who would rather take his children than pay somebody else to raise them. Nobody taught me that. Nobody's going to ever tell you that. Nobody, not a lawyer, not nobody, not a doctor, judge, a friend, a cousin, a associate, employee. Nobody's going to tell you, you as a father need to take those children from that mother because she's not raising them good. Nobody's going to tell you that. They're going to say, well, listen, she's the mom, you need to, and I'm not, and this is not a rag on mom. Interesting, always very complicated and layered. Yes, I'm not ragging on moms. I grew up a mama's boy. I grew up a mama's boy in love with my mom because she down talked my father and she told me that he was a piece of you know what I mean? So I grew up thinking like, my father, he didn't love me anyway, like, whatever. So all I had was my mom and all I wanted to be was my mom, hence the gay community. But anyway, all I wanted to be was my mom because that's all I knew and that's all I had and that's what I wanted to be. You know what I mean? Like when you raise children, you can see how the dynamic of who's raising the child matters so much. I mean, I have 4 children. 1, 2, 7. Oh, I'm sorry. My 7-year-old just turned 8 February 9th. 1, 2, 8, and 11. I have 4 children, all ages. Not in the teens yet, but all of the younger ages. And I literally see how they like respond. Like for instance, if I have my 1-year-old daughter, JGiddins, right? If I have her and say like my son Gerald, my junior, as soon as my daughter coughs, he gets up, stops doing whatever he's doing. He could be eating food. He'll stop, get up, run over to her and pat her back. You know why he does that? Because every time she pats her back, thanks, Gary, for the happy birthday to Justice. Every time she coughs, he sees me pat her back. Every time my son gets up in the morning and he sees me and he sees other family members, Journey, Justice, Danielle, when he sees us, he runs over and gives a hug. Not because he just loves us and wants to give us a hug, but because it's ritualistic almost. We do this regularly. He sees me do it. When I get mad at the TV, what's up? What's up, Trisha? I probably shouldn't look. That sound old. What's up, Patricia? But I'm speaking on, by the way, since you came in so late, Patricia. I don't know if you're going to be here for more than 30 seconds, but I was just speaking on how children directly reflect their parents, right? As you know, I have a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 8-year-old, and 11-year-old, and I literally see how they yes, they're sponges, Gary. I literally see how they do everything I do, yo. Like I will be sitting there, my son could be sitting over there, and if I sit here and be like, boom, 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 bop, bop, my son will be like, boom, 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 bop, bop, and he'll go do it. They literally do what you do. So I just need for us to really seriously understand that, and think about it. You know what I mean? When they see you punch your child in the chest, like there are people out there who have kids and they beat the other kid in front of the other kid. And then that kid beats the shit out of that kid when they leave. And you blame the child, but it's learned behavior. Like, you know what I'm saying? We all have to understand this. I did it. Look, listen, I could keep it a stack with y'all. Okay. I got a little sister. My little sister's 20. She 10 years younger than me, so she's in her early 20s. My younger sister, when she was 3 years old, I beat my little sister up. And when I say beat her, I mean like, like threw her into the wall, punched her, kicked her off the bed. I beat her. And you know why I did that? And it's fucked up that I did that. I had no business doing that. I feel so horrible about doing that. My ex prioritized his affair over our kids. I'm raising them. I appreciate fathers. Yes. The reason that I beat my daughter is like my daughter. I've never beat my daughter. Actually, I probably beat them. I've beat them both maybe 4 times, like together in total. But what the fuck? What was I saying? Jesus Christ. My memory. Guys, somebody help me, please. What was I saying? Jesus. I was talking about beating. Oh, my little sister. So I beat my little sister, right? And that was because my mom raised us improperly, right? Let me tell you what my mom did. I was disciplined heavily. I was disciplined heavily. And this is something that if you're a parent and you're doing this, hear me out. Please hear me out. If you're treating your children differently than each other, stop it. Stop it. Get control of yourself and stop that, because it's gonna take it could take a turn for the worse. But again, my little sister was doing stuff like spitting in my face. Mind you, she was 3-4 years old. My little sister was spitting in my face, and I would tell my mother, and you know what my mother would say? Oh, Gerald, that's my baby. It's okay. She okay. I used to have to get taken out of school early to go pick my little sister up from school because she was beating up the teacher, taking pencils, stabbing other students, knocking computers off her desk and stuff. This was when she was like 5 years old. I would go pick her up the whole way, actually 4 years old, the whole way back to the house. As we walked home, I would tell her how she was going to get a beating by mommy when mommy got home. And you know what she would say to me? No, I'm not. Mommy not going to beat me. And I would be like, yes, she is. I'm telling you, you're going to get your, yeah. And then we would be in the house and my mother would come home and I'd be like, Mom, Niqua did such and such. My sister's name is Shaniqua. Right. But anyway, Niqua, I'll be like, Mom, Niqua did such and such. You know, my mother would say, all right, Gerald, Niqua, you got to stop doing that. And Niqua would be like, and just look at me smiling. So you know what I did? I said, okay, the next time I have to get called out of school to come pick you up, I'm going to beat your ass. I'm going to do it. And she was like, hey, she couldn't talk that much, but she was saying stuff like, yeah, whatever. No, you not. She would say stuff like that. No, you not, all that kind of stuff. And one day it happened. And sure enough, when we got home, I put my hands on her. You know what I mean? And I was 14 I was 14 at the time. I was 14. She was 4. And honestly, I feel kind of bad about it because I shouldn't have done it, but I also don't blame me. That was my mother's fault. Just to keep it a stack, that was my mother's fault. That was her fault because honestly, she set the table for that to happen. What else is going to happen when you take a child and treat them better than your older child who's been your only child their whole life? You think that child not going to develop disdain for that other child? Resentment and hatred for that other child? Like, you know what I mean? That's going to happen. And you ignore those things because you're so focused on your own world. A lot of parents don't put their children above them. And that's what I feel is the issue. And I'm not, listen, any parents that may be doing that, if you're watching this, a lot of the stuff that I say, it come off like I'm being this dickhead who just mean to people and stuff. That ain't what it is. If you're a parent who's struggling with some of the stuff that I say, I don't blame you for it. A lot of it ain't your fault. Your mother did it to you. And that's why you doing it to them. You know what I mean? It's not your fault. But my thing is, I don't blame you for what you do. I blame you for the lack of caring to not do it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if you're mistreating your child, but it's another thing if you refuse to even acknowledge that you're doing it or get any help with it. That's a different story. So to a lot of the parents out there, what I really want to say is the first step is caring. The first step is caring. The first step is caring. That's the first step. If you can't do that, you can't do nothing else. That's for any parent, male, female, wait, there's only two genders. Okay. Anyway, my point is, any parent or guardian, you have to care about the child. If you don't do that, then you won't think out of the box. You won't think above and beyond about certain things because it's not important. We have to focus on caring about the children, and you have to focus on you have to try to what I would suggest to any parent out there who's struggling with raising their child or want some help, some tips, some tidbits. Think about when you were a child. I mean, think of, the relationship between a parent and child is similar to the relationship of a CEO and an employee. Think about what you want. You know what I mean? Do you want to be taxed money for no reason? Do you want to have your pay cut for no reason? Do you want to have no say in what goes on in the company? You know what I mean? Why is it that your child can't have a say in what they eat for breakfast? What the hell is that about? Because I said so. Why can't your child have a say in what they eat for fucking breakfast? Because I said so. I said you eating this. You're such a fucking, you know what I mean? It's like, and honestly, this unfortunately is very common in the Black community with Black women. They just have a problem with control. It's like this child is a piece of property. Like they don't view it as a thing. Like, you know what I mean? The child is 10 years old, waking up, coming in the kitchen saying, I'm hungry. And you say, all right, I'm going to make you some oatmeal. And they say, I don't want oatmeal. Is it any way I can have eggs? You going to eat the damn oatmeal. I'm going to get you. What you hungry? You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, buddy, slow down. Why are you such a dick to your kids? Like, what the fuck? And then we wonder why the kids grow up and they don't expect respect because it's not, it's not owed to them as far as they understand. Anything that your parent is willing to do to you, they validated everybody else doing it. You know what I mean? Asian women too. I know nothing about Asian women. I'll be completely honest with you, Pink. Like my experience with Asians is like fucking kung pao chicken, broccoli, beef and broccoli, and fucking crouching tiger, hidden dragon. And I hate to make that sound so ignorant, but I wanted to make sure that my ignorance was really felt by you. That is what I know about Asians. I do have a couple good Asian friends. I have a really good Asian friend by the name of Will, that I communicate with a lot, who supports me actually in a lot of ways. And Will and I have talked and engaged a lot about the struggles amongst both of our communities, because Asians have their own struggles as well that we're not aware of, obviously. But anyway, I'm sorry that it has to be like this. And you know what? Here's the thing with Asian people. Here's the thing that I do know about Asian people, right? So they are that way. And I do have a friend of mine who's married to where is she from? China. She's either from China or Thailand. She's from somewhere, but she's Asian, right? And I went to breakfast with them. I'm not gonna listen, bro. If you're watching this, to my brother who I'm talking about, he knows him. I'm not gonna say his name. I apologize for using you as an example. Nobody's gonna know who you are. I really just want to make sure that they, and don't have any hard feelings about what I'm saying, please. All right. Side note. Now, there's a friend of mine that I have who's married to an Asian woman and has, children with her, and I paid attention to the way that mom was talking to the children, and it bothered me. I will honestly say it bothered me. I mean, she was just, she was speaking in another language, so I couldn't hear what she was saying. But without this seeming like it's being like disrespectful, because I'm not making fun of Asian language, I'm just giving you an example of what I saw. But essentially, it was, like every time, the daughter did something, it was like she wanted to beat her every time she did something. Like, you know what I mean? But what I will say is the difference between Blacks and Asians is Asians do that because of the perfectionist in them, right? And Pink, let me know if you disagree. My kids are coming out. Let me know if you disagree with that. But I feel like Asians do that because of the perfectionist in them. When will our Black families start to do business with each other the way Asians? Bro, man, you ain't lying. Listen, not even just Asians, every race. Like, the more that I look this up, I find out every race knows about group economics. You know what I mean? Every race knows about communities, the purpose of communities, about having your own, essentials, you know, things like water supply, food supply, electric supply, all those kind of things. They know about this and they support each other and make sure that if there was a blackout, you know, the shit that's happening in Texas right now, if y'all not paying attention, they can survive that. They can weather that. That's why if you're not paying attention, the mayor in Texas, what's up, Tiger Daddy? Thank you for stopping by, boss. Come here, son. For those of you who may or may not know, in Texas right now, they got a whole situation. Say what's up. You ain't gonna say what's up. All right, it's cool. It's early. They got a situation in Texas going on right now where they got like a bunch of snow, and you know, people are dying because they're freezing to death in their homes. You know what I mean? And they're not allowing food to go in or out of the state. People are just literally dying, man. And that type of situation, perfectionism is a double-edged sword. Yes, it is, Pink. I want to get back to that perfectionism with Asians, but I just kind of deviated talking about Texas. I just wanted to make sure everybody was clear on the fact that Texas, the Texas mayor, the mayor in Texas, there's only one mayor, I believe. And he said, I got to get his name and stuff and put it on here, but he said, only the strong will survive and the weak will perish. That was what he said right before he resigned. And you know, all of the snow hit and they wasn't trying to help anybody. So at the end of the day, we have to understand and get it through our minds that like what he said was real. That's why he resigned afterwards. You know what I mean? He said only the strong will survive, the weak will perish. In terms of racial existence, Black people are at the bottom of the barrel because we don't have nothing. We don't have nothing. We don't have nothing that they don't give us. You know what I'm saying? Like schools, we want to, you know, and then we have the Willie Lynch going on in our minds. You know, we think that we are nothing unless they give it to us. You know, think about, man, let me tell y'all something real quick before I go, right? Food, clothing, childcare, the simple things can't provide. Hey, man, since me and you talk, bro, like there's so much more. There's so much more that I want to talk to you about. But anyway, look, shit, man, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, so what I was gonna say is the Willie Lynch in us. Think about I watched the interview with Claude Anderson, right? Claude Anderson is a scholar. He's a forensic historian, but he was talking about the fact that like we've been programmed to always want from white people, right? You gotta think, when back in slavery, they literally took religion and used it to make us believe that the white man was God and we had to serve our master correctly, right? So we've been programmed to believe that we come second and we have to get everything from them, right? Anytime something happened, they were talking about Rosa Parks, right? Rosa Parks is somebody that in school we were bigged up to, you know, support and believe in, right? If you notice, white people, when they tell our history, they bring up a lot of people who wanted to integrate, right? Integrate. They force that on you. They even make it out like Martin Luther King got killed because he wanted to integrate, when that's not why he got killed. He got killed because he wanted to segregate. After he integrated us, which he gave that I Have a Dream speech in 1962, and then he got killed in 1968. Now, the when he got killed, that wasn't because of the I Have a Dream speech. And that's the thing. I didn't know that until I got out and did my own research. But based on what you learn in school, you would think, oh, you know, Black man gave a powerful speech wanting to unite Black and white people, and then they killed him. We got to fight for what's right, you know. But the reality is the Black man fought to integrate us. They supported him, gave him positions, support him and everything because he was doing it. And then he realized when he gave his speech in 67 or whenever it was in New York, where he described that he feared he integrated his people into a burning building. That was when they killed him, because he was about to meet with not Farrakhan. I forget who it was, bro. Like I learned all this stuff and it's just in the back of my mind. The point is, somebody reached out to Dr. MLK when he was in jail and wanted him to meet with an activist once he got out. That's why he got killed, because they were about to start revolting. So anybody who talks about that is going to be killed. I mean, that's just what it is, unfortunately. I think that's why a lot of people are afraid to talk and speak up, especially like the Black elites who know better. You know what I mean? Because, one thing that I realized, I used to always talk negatively. Yo, I keep talking. I will not shut up. Yeah. Right. Man, you ain't lying. Fred Hampton, I think that's who it was. Was that who was Fred Hampton who was supposed to be meeting with MLK? Who was it? It was somebody that had some sort of affiliation with Farrakhan, but there was some or something like that. There was somebody. God, I gotta get it down. But the point is just knowing and understanding the fact that that's what happened. You know what I mean? And we all always want to, like, oh, I was talking about Rosa Parks. Listen, Rosa Parks, Dr. Claude Anderson said something, and it was the first time somebody ever made me think like this. Rosa Parks fought for the right to ride on a bus that hated her and didn't want her on it. Think about that. Now, there were bus companies that existed that were black, specifically in North Carolina during the time that all this happened. But Rosa Parks wanted to ride the white bus. They demanded because they wanted to go to the white school. That's the school they should go to. The white one. The one with the people that hate us and call us niggas and want us dead. We deserve to be there too. We've been fighting to be a part of our own death because we want it so bad, right? I mean, everybody talking about the school system. It's horrible. They're not teaching us. They're doing this. The prison to pipeline, the school to prison pipeline, which there's actual evidence behind and statistics that show that black children are set up to go to prison from jail. But rather than fighting that or trying to figure it out, we want to, my house is waking up, guys. So you're hearing kids and people and stuff, right? I'll be going in a second, but I just got so much I want to say, man. I'm just saying at the end of the day, we need to be thinking about trying to build our own school. We need to be thinking about trying to build our own water plants or power plants. We need to be finding the people that are in these positions who know the things that we need for, agriculture, resources. We need to find those people, and they need to, Malcolm X, Pink, thank you. That's who it was. Was it Malcolm X? It was Malcolm X that Dr. King was he was speaking with in jail, and he was supposed to meet with him when he got out or something. But yeah. All right, guys, listen. That's about all I got for you guys, man. This has been a wealth of conversation knowledge. I hope this video makes it to a lot of people and people actually sit and watch it, man, because this stuff that we talk about, this is the stuff that should be talked about. You got a bunch of idiots out here sitting watching damn fucking loving hip hop and fucking real housewives and all this other dumbness. This is what it should be talked about. We should be getting each other's contacts and communicating and congregating with each other. People need to look up what's happening in Texas right now and prepare. That's all I'm saying. Just prepare. Make sure that you set up. Make sure that once these lights go out, it's dark outside. It's no heat. It's no phone. It's no nothing that you can survive. That's what we got to do at this point. Start getting combat materials. Start getting necessities around the house. Warming, extra power chargers. All those kind of things, man. Buy blankets that I mean the blankets that's thermal blankets. Thank you, babe. Buy thermal blankets. You know what I mean? You got to prepare. Or let me rephrase. Be prepared. Because it could happen at any time. Those people in Texas did not know what was about to go down. The people at the bottom anyway. Ted Cruz got his ass out of there, right? So he knew. But, yeah. But look, man, that's all I got for y'all. Please remember to be positive, optimistic. Keep positive people in your circle. If you're watching this, hit the like button. If you're watching this on Instagram, follow me. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, hit the like button, share this, because if you're watching this and you saw this, this is more important than that other stuff. The stuff we talking about is more important than anything else on the feed right now. This is what everybody should be talking about, but nobody wants to talk about it because nobody wants to talk about it. You understand? That's how you make something popular. We have to make this popular and talk about it. All right. Love y'all. Peace out. It's your boy JGiddins, baby.